The reason that I've written a book saying sometimes organizing isn't enough is that in my almost 20 years as a professional organizer and time management expert, I've always found that when people aren't sure where they're going, if they don't have a clear destination, they can't get organized, because organizing involves designing a system that makes you more efficient wherever you are. But when you don't know where you're going, it's really hard to design a system to get you there. And that's really when organizing isn't enough. And you don't need to get organized in those situations. You actually need to release the old in order to make room to move forward. And that's what the new book is about. It's a book about managing change. SHED is an acronym for the 4 steps of letting things go that are old and obsolete. The first step is to separate the treasures, to identify the gems that are really worth holding on to. And the next step is to heave the rest, which is everything that is not a treasure should go, whether that's in your physical space or whether that's in your schedule. You're going to completely release everything that is no longer current and relevant. The E stands for embracing your identity, and that's when you get a chance to discover who you are without your old familiar stuff that's no longer serving you. And the D is for drive yourself forward, and that's a very proactive process of exploring a new direction in your life where you reinvent yourself, or you recharge your career or your life in some way. When organizing isn't enough, spend more time focused on what you do before and after letting things go than most books on this subject. And that really comes from my experience of working with people, in that if you don't do the proper amount of mental preparation before you release things and after you've let them go, you are very likely to refill that space or refill your schedule in no time at all. Because we have attachments to our clutter. You know, our clutter isn't really junk. It's what I call, they're sort of representations of old attachments that we're struggling to release. So you really need to think through, why am I holding on to this stuff? What am I going to gain when I release it? And you're very often trading tangible objects for very intangible rewards. So you release the clutter and you gain a sense of freedom or possibility or excitement or even a sense of calm. So you're trading that clutter for something very intangible but actually really palpable. Anyone facing any sort of transition is in a position to shed. You could be a young person who's just graduating college and is starting their career and has to shed their child identity to become more of an adult. You could be in the middle or later stages of your career and you're doing a significant career shift. You could be getting married. You could be getting divorced. You could be just changing any relationship. You can be moving. Any sort of transition, retirement, empty nest. And when you're in the midst of this transition, you know you're actually ready to shed if the following 3 things are true. 1, you feel there's a sort of what I call a specter of a better future in your mind. You can't quite put your finger on what it is, but you have this impulse, something that's drawing you forward. 2, you're not sure you can pull it off. Whatever you're kind of aspiring to, you're a little nervous about, you don't know you can pull it off. And 3, you're feeling weighed down by something that's keeping you from moving forward. And those 3 characteristics are consistently true of everyone who is ready to shed. And it gives you the true momentum to start finding the clutter in your life, shedding it, and creating the space and the energy and actually even the insight to move forward. After you've shed, life is in this state of full vibrancy. You just feel energized, you feel incredibly self-confident because you've detached your identity from your stuff and you've truly embraced your identity from within, and you just feel so excited you can just show up. You're really experimenting and exploring and moving in a new direction, and you feel very authentic. I think that everyone who has gone through this process feels that they get to their most authentic and vibrant self.